Welcome, everyone, to the Laws of Empowerment. Many amazing people in history have reached great levels of empowerment, enabling them to perform many great miracles for themselves and others. The first time this presentation was given to a public audience was on the fourth blood moon, September 27th, 2015, at the Los Angeles Airport LAX Holiday Inn. Eric the Healer introduced me as someone whose father was a Nobel Prize nominee who then died under mysterious circumstances because his information was so important on the sodium-potassium pump and the lymphatic system. And then Eric announced to everyone that I've brought people back from the dead and said that without surgery, I reattached my PCL ligament in my knee that was completely severed in a wave runner accident the summer of 1994, 23 years ago. So I was given the platform after being introduced as bringing people back from the dead and without surgery, reattaching my knee. All right, you guys. So have you ever seen the movie Princess Bride with Miracle Max? He's not dead. He's just mostly dead. We've been talking that way a long time. If you can turn one cell back on, you just resurrected that cell. And most of the cells are like a new car with a new engine out of gas. So if you know how to do that with enough cells in the body, sometimes you bring them back if their soul hasn't left their body yet. That's what happens. People coming back to life after being pronounced dead, or even after being buried, wasn't as uncommon in our past history. However, when people die nowadays, we either cremate their body or mummify and/or embalm the body, which involves pulling all the blood out of their body and filling them up with formaldehyde and other preservative chemicals, so we make sure the people really are all dead. Why? Well, one reason is to clear our own conscience, so we don't have to worry about them waking up buried 6 feet under the ground in a coffin. We used to put a little bell in the coffin the person could ring for those cases who did come back to life after being buried. This is just to help you understand the truth of people coming back to life was actually more common knowledge back then than it is today. I was blessed with the opportunity to work with Jerry Harper, who was only dead for about an hour and 45 minutes, according to the hospital's medical records. He showed up at the hospital in Orange, California, dead on arrival from a heart attack. From the time of his arrival, he was dead for an hour and 45 minutes, and they just left his body sitting on ice after they gave up on him. They put him on ice so they don't overheat him, because they run so much electricity through him. Jump-starting the heart with a defibrillator uses so much electricity that it generates heat. Jerry's wife, Marlene, had also called several other people to help pray for him. She'd called me first thing, but I didn't get the message right away because I was in the middle of a presentation about 650 miles away from him, and she was 740 miles away from him. As soon as I got the message, I called her back, and she insisted that I do for him what I've done for others, long distance, including what I call an instant health data transfer. And right on that phone call, first we did some spirit-to-spirit talk with Jerry, and I got a green light to proceed. As soon as I sent him the instant health data transfer, instantly his heart started beating again, and he started breathing again. He went right back to work again for NASA, basically a rocket scientist, computer programmer genius with no brain damage. Most people call this kind of event a miracle. Every miracle has a process. If you can understand the process, you can perform the miracle. Even when you understand the process behind the miracle, it's still a miracle. Every blessing has a law which governs it. Different words, but the principles are the same. When we put the correct principles into practice, we get the blessings of health, beauty, peace, happiness, and freedom, regardless of race or religion, or how good or bad we thought we were. And if we break the laws, we reap the penalties of unhappiness and loss of freedom, and so on. We have many healing arts from every culture, and there are different words with each culture, but the principles are the same. Apply the correct principles, and you'll get correct results. We didn't create the body, and we're standing on the shoulders of geniuses and ascended masters. With reattaching the totally severed PCL in the knee, I was very blessed to have been inspired. Basically, I was spiritually shown how to produce and transport adult stem cells without any of the three categories everyone else has been using, namely surgical needles, nutritional products, or urine therapy. Urine therapy involves drinking your own urine or peeing on yourself, and most people, like myself, are not into that. I was divinely inspired with a different method than anyone else is currently talking about still, using a unique and special process. Since 1994, 23 years later, I'm still the only person in the world that I know of who's even talking this way. I did it with a simple and easy self-help technique that doesn't cost any money to actually do it after you learn how. And I've been teaching other people how to do this with great success. This and many other power heal techniques, I feel I must give credit to God for blessing me to develop and teach. Please place your phones on airplane mode and take good notes as we go along. And please write down any questions you have and save them for later. The material has been prepared to cover most of your questions as we go. And when we're live in person or doing a live webinar class, depending on the time schedules, sometimes we have a Q&A session to answer other questions at the end. But it's going to be amazing what we cover, so hang tight. This will be a great journey. The laws of empowerment are really about the laws of life and laws of death, the tree of life and the tree of death, the laws of the universe. Life is made up of systems, and each system has its principles and processes, or laws. The laws of empowerment will help you understand every system, every aspect of life, health, relationships, government, even church government, money, and legal. You're about to increase your understanding of how we develop and how everything works. You will clearly see how all the laws of the tree of life, the laws of empowerment, hinge off of the laws of love and peace. And you'll understand why each law of empowerment is a gold nugget of truth. If you embrace the laws of empowerment right now, as you're becoming more familiar with what they actually are and how they work, you'll be empowered with greater clarity. You will more clearly see how to make uplifting changes in your life. We're always moving in one direction or another. But if you're able to essentially recognize where you are with things and more clearly envision your options to make positive shifts, you can more easily shift your life in a positive way. How many would like to do that? Information is the currency of democracy. Thomas Jefferson. A disclaimer. This information is for educational purposes only. The Zero Disease class is a prerequisite to this class for fundamental perspective. That's where you'll learn the fundamentals behind all the healing arts and all empowerment. We keep learning about this, but this has been a main life passion and focus for me. For a more detailed disclaimer as well as the terms of service, please visit zerodisease.com. This information is offered without warranty or guarantee. Caution. Anyone who applies the laws of empowerment, peace, and freedom must also understand the nature of opposition. Nature seeks balance. Proceed with love and understanding. It's up to us to maintain love in our hearts for God. We've been warned when the hearts of the people are stirred up into anger that violence and war breaks out. It's up to us to help people in our communities who are hard-hearted to soften their hearts. Hardening of hearts always leads to violence and war. Do not underestimate this big warning for where we are now. You may have heard the statement, feed them milk before the meat, because growing too fast is dangerous. Too much advanced truth without having a strong enough foundation can throw people off balance and cause people to let go of important fundamentals of their own lineage and to become lost. So much of life is about balance. And when it comes to having a closed mind versus having 100% faith in whatever people say, do not put 100% of your faith in everything other people say, even if you think they're pretty amazing, even with what you're learning in this program. Not at first, anyway. Not without double and triple checking. It's your responsibility to verify the information and principles to make sure you're safe. Yet, have an open mind to listen and get all you can out of it. And whatever you either don't like, disagree with, or simply don't understand yet, you can either throw it out or put it in a box for later. It's up to you. Bigot definition. A person who is intolerant, prejudiced, or narrow-minded towards those of different race, religion, or opinions. First adopted in the 15th century into English from Middle French as a religious hypocrite. It's not about whether or not someone is a bigot, but whether or not the argument which that someone is arguing is worth being a bigot about. That's a quote from Chris Jammy of Philosophy. Most of what people say and do is a reflection of what they're feeling and thinking about themselves. Other people tell on themselves all the time, and so do we. You can quote me on that one, even though I've been blessed with a lot of awesome teachers, friends, and inspiration. Our purpose is planetary healing and empowerment with love, peace, and prosperity. All the laws of empowerment, you'll find they really do hinge off of love. Empowerment is the main purpose of life, period. Every law of the universe is a golden nugget of empowerment. Edgar Cayce is considered to be one of the most intuitive people in recent history. Although I don't agree with every single thing he said, he taught being intuitive is just seeing how the laws of the universe work. And most of our intuition comes through our dreams. Are any of you big dreamers out there? I am. This is my father and Paramahansa Yogananda. I just thought I'd give a different slide than I give in the Zero Disease presentation. These are some of my favorite people. My father was my greatest mentor. I like learning from great people. Here's another photo of Yogananda Paramahansa when he was a bit older. Interesting. I think they're at least spirit brothers, you know? Pretty cool. Max Gerson, the founder of Gerson Cancer Institute, was a top leader fighting cancer naturally. He and my father were friends, and the Gerson tapes quote my father still today. My father helped Anthony Robbins get started on his path when he was 18 years old and living in a cubicle. He was calling us about every day for about a month or so straight, and we haven't heard back from him since. He's never even been back to say thank you. He's too busy focused on his success. Wayne Dyer just passed on August 29th, 2015. In the late 70s, Wayne was very early on, just getting started on his path when my father was teaching Wayne about the power of intention in Wayne's living room, and my mother was also there with them. Later, Wayne wrote the Power of Intention book. When I met Wayne, I asked him about this story, and he confirmed it for me. The truth is, everything you think, say, and do has an impact. When you really understand this, you can help shift the lives of many people around you for the better. My father was a Nobel Prize nominee. He was also a keynote speaker at all the National Health Federation, NHF, conventions, which started in 1955 as the first big health conventions and reached huge success in the 70s. The NHF convention is the one all the others started to break away from. Sometimes breakoffs happen because of the old, how can I do this without you attitudes. Through the NHF, Bernard Jensen and all the greats from the 70s were all really good friends with my father. My father discovered what generates the power for cells to work. The sodium-potassium pump. It's the engine that powers all cells. Physical life is made up of physical systems. Physiology is functionality. And since the cell is the basic unit of physical life, cellular functionality is the basis of all physical functionality or physiology. What shuts this engine of our cells off is a master key to understanding all life systems. He also wrote the basic formulas and equations for life and death of the cells. He then revealed how they are tied into the basic diagram of the tree of life versus the tree of death, introducing people to the real tree of life and tree of death scientifically. He basically revealed how everything we think, say, and do is interconnected to one or the other, life or death. This encompasses all consciousness and the basics of how the laws of the universe work. We keep learning more and more about life and death, but the basic foundation was figured out long ago. My father was a visionary for world peace. The subtitle of his book was Conquer Disease with 8 Keys to Health, Beauty, and Peace. And he taught that we can't conquer disease unless we establish peace in the process. And we can't establish peace unless we conquer disease at the same time. We're designed to integrate it all and do it all. One truth doesn't replace another. They empower each other. And they're not meant to do anything different. They line up perfectly if you have enough pieces of the puzzle, and most people just don't have enough pieces to see it that way. And we know what's caused that to happen, how they've forgotten. We are designed to transcend all limitations within every system, all of our relationships, and within government and law. My father dedicated his life to this cause, and he believed in laying down his life to save life if it was necessary to accomplish his life mission, to do what he knew he was born to do. By the end of the 80s, he was receiving heavy persecution and commonly said they'd done everything but burn his house down or shoot him to try to stop him. He made many great sacrifices and was sustained with so many great miracles to help complete his life mission and complete his great work. It was an amazing gift for the planet, to say the very least. And that was my example for a father. I was blessed. Here are the formulas that he wrote. I don't have time to explain the scientific terminology right now. We've asked you to experience the Zero Disease class first for further details on this. Go do that right away if you haven't done so yet. We take people through in lay terms, step by step, exactly what this is in our course. Now, this is a simplified outline of how the basic formulas for life and death introduce people to the tree of life and the tree of death scientifically. The formulas summarized. We've got the tree of life and the tree of death. The tree of life is love. Everything hinges off of that, all the laws. Opposite of that is hate. Then kindness. Its opposite is abuse. Peace. Its opposite is war. Health. Its opposite is disease. It's life and death. And the intelligence behind the formula of the tree of life is faith intelligence, which is freedom and being self-governed. The opposite is fear intelligence, which is slavery or a slave master. There's only 2 types of intelligence: faith and trust versus fear and control. Prosperity and charity versus poverty and greed. Without properly understanding this, we can never understand socialism, communism, capitalism, free market, or democracy. And although they may all fail, charity never faileth. So the two types of intelligence, it's freedom or slavery. And from various realms, from higher to lower, it's various levels of freedom to slavery. So we should have expected a lot of slavery-type programming from where we've come from. The tree of death is all about abuse. And it's time to pull back the veil on that right here and now. Because any type of abuse allowed in any part of our systems or any part of our life will always become worse until we learn the lesson from it. This is a fundamental law. There is no fence to sit on. We all must choose between love and hate. We've got to figure out what side to be on and take sides. And we are the servant of whatever principles we serve. It's time to figure it out. No one likes bad news. And from digging into the truth about our history, I can understand why some of the stories have been shifted and some things have been covered up. Because we don't want to tell our children horror stories that would give them nightmares. But it's time for us to face the music. Because of the duality, some of this isn't the nicest type of things to become conscious of or even talk about. At the same time, the solutions are also unveiled as we go. You must see both sides. You know, we're not just giving people the burden, and we're not just here to help them carry the burden. The difference here is to guide you and empower you with knowing what to do to shift the abuse and the tree of death to the tree of life in your personal life. This is why our purpose is planetary healing and empowerment. This is exactly what this class is intended to help you do, to make the positive planetary shifts for world peace and prosperity, with love and understanding. How many would like to see world peace happen? What most of the beauty pageant winners who end up being the royalty, they all say when asked, "What is the greatest wish you want to see?" World peace. How many times have we heard that? And for how long? It's always the same. It's become a cliche. But now its time for reality has come. Charity, the pure love of God, is the greatest power in the universe. And it teaches us what, why, when, where, and how to take action, which is where the rubber meets the road. You can wish and hope for world peace from now till doomsday and never achieve it. It's more than that. You cannot get it just by wishing and hoping. It's like filling up a glass full of water. You can wish and hope that the glass will be full of water and think that's the secret. Or you can just get off your butt and fill it up. Which one do you think will be faster? There's a certain simpleology to the way this works. Like the race for the truth, this is truth in action. I was born on Father's Day as a queen of clubs, a mother of intuition, and I believe there are no accidents. Thanks to God, I was blessed to develop prenatal empowerment, and am the proud parent of 3 power plant kids, Andrew, Haley, and Mercedes. All of them were born super healthy, all with their eyes open, and with photographic memory. Andrew was born first, and after his 4th birthday, which is how long he had to wait to enter his first spelling bee, he won first place. They're multilingual and are blessed with straight A's. They were receiving the prenatal empowerment protocol every single night. Blessings of empowerment. What if you could be that way? What if we could all be that way? What if we could all live our lives that way? What would the world be like if all our kids were so blessed? What kind of planetary empowerment will be created once everyone has photographic memory? I've been shown how this is possible with one single generation. It's taken 20 years of experience to see where they are by their 19th birthday. I finally feel comfortable speaking much stronger about this now. I firmly believe it's the most powerful form of education on the planet. What if all kids could, by the time they're 4 years old, have spelling bee skills greater than the level of the first place spelling bee winners? Should they choose to be multilingual, they excel in the other language they decide to learn just for fun, because it's easy for them and they enjoy it. It's been a blessing for me to watch my kids. They've been super easy to manage. They self-manage and govern themselves. Many people consider Nikola Tesla as the greatest scientific mind in history. In 1894, he was the recipient of an Elliott Crescent Gold Medal, which is the most prestigious award any scientist or inventor can receive. The Nobel Assembly that awards the Nobel Prize wasn't even formed until 1978. Tesla said, "If the genius of invention were to reveal tomorrow the secret of immortality, of eternal beauty and youth, for which all humanity is aching, the same inexorable agents which prevent a mass from changing suddenly its velocity would likewise resist the force of the new knowledge until time gradually modifies human thought." This is my all-time favorite quote from Tesla. The only problem I have with it is time is not what modifies human thought. And I'm here to help accelerate the modification of human thought. As fast as we do that, we change the world forever. I am an integrated scribe for human software. One way I do the fastest and easiest things that I do is because of a form of paradosis gift, which I have also shared with countless others, of the understanding and shifting our human software. The most powerful things are the most subtle things. Being an integrated scribe for human software has helped me to further understand that. But I also understand in order to get things simple and easy, we also have to raise our level of intelligence. We have to understand even more. And people who aren't ready to really learn, who aren't really teachable, they just say, "Give it to me in simplicity." I just scratch my head and think, you are not ready. You have to care more. Everything starts in the heart. That's where the shifting happens first. You know, the love and light, knowledge and power, intelligence and energy, clarity and charity. The head can't live without the heart. They're inseparable. Every word in every language, if they have the same definitions, they have the same energy signatures. Things are created on a spiritual, energetic, and intelligence level before they're manifested physically. One thing that I know for a fact, it's a law, we must really care in our heart to be ready to raise our level of intelligence. How many of you are here to learn something new? How many of you realize what it is that brings you to listen is that you care enough in your heart? This has been a major personal interest topic for my father and I. We lived and breathed these principles. How many of you are visionary dreamers, like me, of world peace and prosperity? How many of you dreamers find it easier to dream of peace and prosperity than it is to manifest peace and prosperity? I was sort of just flying under the radar, wondering if someone was ever going to physically speak this out for people to hear it. And although it just happens to be me now, I wouldn't do it if I didn't really know I was supposed to. It's being streamed online and is available to whoever wants it. And I think that there's safety in that because this kind of information, some people might look at it as dangerous, even though it's the safest thing for us all to be talking about.